moment of silence to appreciate the gorgeous foil cover on these books. My goodness. So on August 6th, Angry Robot Books is publishing the trade paperback edition of Chasm, which is timed perfectly because the third book in the trilogy, Valley, comes out in September. Huge thank you to Angry Robot Books for this beautiful paperback copy to read and review for y'all. I am part of the online book tour for Chasm. My review will be going up on the channel on August 22nd, so go ahead and mark your calendars, or even yet, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell and you'll be notified as soon as it goes live. So now we're going to switch over and we're going to talk about my reread of Ledge. Now, even though this is a reread for me, I'm not going to get into spoilers. I want to keep this spoiler free because when I read it the first time, I just did a written review. I did not do a video review, even though I did have a conversation with the author, Stacey McEwan, on the channel way back then, which I'll have linked up in the cards for you to watch, and that link will be in the description box, as well as the information on both books that are currently out in the series. The title of the book, Ledge, comes from the place where our main character, Dawson Sabar, was born and raised. It's not just Dawson's home that's found on this ledge. There's a whole civilization of people who live there, or rather, the appropriate term for it is trapped. There's only two ways that people have ever left the ledge. One is by falling off into the chasm to their death, because where this ledge is, it's trapped between a sheer mountain face and this vast chasm. The only other way that people have left the ledge is during the annual culling, where a race of winged creatures known as the Glacians, they come to this civilization every year when the seasons change and will select a human sacrifice. Every household is required to select one person that must stand outside during this culling to see if the Galatian is going to select them that year. As a result of this seclusion, the people that live on the ledge have no knowledge of the outside world. All they know is off the ledge is somewhere where these Galatians reside. And so it is this particular year. Our tale begins with Dawson. She is the only remaining member of her family. Therefore, she is the one that must stand outside her home during the culling, and she has been chosen this year. Any human that has ever been chosen in a culling has never been seen again. So the assumption to those that live on the ledge is these people are murdered, eaten, or even worse. The very first thing you learn about Dawson Sabar when you open this book is that she's a survivor. That Galatian that just ripped her from her icy home on the ledge is about to find out. Dawson is desperate and determined to escape from the Galatians, and she has an offer of help with that escape from a half-Galatian called Ryan. Dawson warily accepts Ryan's help because she realizes that he has more knowledge of the area than she does, but she also doesn't trust him because he is one of the very creatures that has plagued the ledge for her entire life. So begins the story of Dawson and Ryan, a high-stakes, enemies-to-lovers fantasy romance that I have now read twice and absolutely loved both times. I found this book just as enjoyable the second time as I did the first. In fact, I think I liked it a little bit more because I knew what was coming. I would go ahead and start cracking up because I knew that Dawson was about to have some snarky response to Ryan, which I absolutely lived for the banter between these two characters. Another reason why I love this book so much is the character of Dawson Sabar. She always reminds me of my favorite fantasy female character of all time, Orca from John Gwynne's Bloodsworn trilogy. Actually, I think it may be called the Bloodsworn Saga. You know what? I will go ahead and link that series down in the description box as well, just in case you haven't read that one, but you're intrigued to read another fantasy female that is just as badass as Dawson. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I love the enemies to lovers trope. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's almost as if they're both reluctant to like it. Like they don't want to like each other. They're trying to convince themselves that they don't like each other, but their bodies betray them anyway. The chemistry is just too much to ignore and continue to say no to. What also made this trope so fun is that Dawson is not a damsel in distress. This is a partnership. They are helping each other escape. It's not Ryan rescuing Dawson. And the author really could have chosen here to flip the script and had Dawson rescue Ryan, but instead she made the decision to write both of these characters very strong, confident, they're intelligent, and I really love that. It's so nice to not have an imbalance in the relationship. It's always been my opinion that an enemies to lovers trope is best when it has a slower pace, so I appreciate that Stacey McEwan made this a slow burning romance, but as such, the spice level is on the lower side. I rated this one a level 2, which for me means there is at least a couple of intimate scenes that is not very descriptive. There's not any dirty talk and mostly happens off page. Something I took more notice of in my reread of Ledge was the distinction between the settings. On the ledge, it's described as an icy frozen wasteland. Once Dawson escapes from there, she takes refuge in the valley in a town called Tursaw. That's summery, there's grass, everything's green, there's new growth. It represents freedom. The author did such an amazing job building the atmosphere with her descriptions of these two places. They were just as different from night and day. Picking up on things like that is just one of the many reasons why I enjoy rereading books so much. So now that I have finished my reread of Ledge, it is time to dive into the second book of the trilogy, Chasm. And if you love these gorgeous paperback editions, I'm going to have both of them linked down below to make it easy on you. Thank you so much for joining me today and listening to me talk about my thoughts and opinions on a recent reread, a book that I have loved both times that I've read it. And if you are a fellow fantasy romance reader, I think you would enjoy it as well. Even if you're a contemporary romance reader, you're not into fantasy that much, I still think you would find this one really enjoyable. It may open up a door to a whole other subgenre you might really love. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one.